Yes, we are. My daughter, I have a daughter that's turning 16 on Monday, and sitting in this room this morning with Barbara and my good friend Tiffany, I had one of those moments last night. She started her first job yesterday, first day of work ever at a real job, and she was the biggest crybaby last night. And I just wanted to say, come on, grow up, girl, but you can't. They've got to go through it, right? But I need to bring peace back into my life when I'm dealing with I have a 15-year-old as well, so it's fun. So I'm Danabal, and the first thing I tell my people who call me is right off the bat, I say, you know what, just so you know, I am not a typical attorney. And what that means for you is that I'm not going to be a good fit for everyone. And it's okay. I'm okay with that because of how I run my business. And so I'm hoping, I've had some feedback before that I kind of scare people. I scare business owners because I really want you to face reality. I feel like sometimes our heads are in the sand because we're so excited about being a business owner. And I really want you to face reality. So I still want you to face reality today, but I don't want you to leave here with your head in the sand. You've gotten so much information, and I love how this has gone from Tiffany to Barb to me, because it's setting you up for some really valuable information to take home with you and be better business owners. And you can do it. So I'm your cheerleader, we're all your cheerleader. And I hope that when you leave today, you're not saying, oh my gosh, she gave us too much legal stuff. I don't even know where to begin. It's too stressful. I just have to put it aside, I'll deal with it later. I hope you don't do that. I hope you walk away and you start thinking, what am I going to change with how I work my finances? What am I going to change to give me more legal protection? So before I dump all my legal stuff on you, I am a business owner too. I have 5 businesses. I'm ready to launch one hopefully next week or the week after that I've been working on for 2 years, right? It can take 2 years, a lot of heartache, a lot of time to get something going. But I love it. It's an adrenaline rush. So I am right there with you. But I read a lot. And I have an extra copy of this book. Tim Ferriss came into my life a few months ago, and now I've inhaled all of his books, so I have this extra one. I'd love to give it to one of you today. So I'm going to pass my little jar around, put your business card in there, make sure it has your cell phone, because I'm going to text you after. If you don't have your business card, just write it on a piece of paper, your name, your cell phone, and your email. And during lunch, one of you will get it. It's an awesome book. I haven't actually gone through this one, but you can see how hefty it is, right? I've done part of it, but it's great. All right, entrepreneurs. If you just look around the room, you can see we are all from different walks of life. My clients range from medical professionals. They didn't go to med school or dental school to learn how to run a business, but they get thrown into it. They didn't plan on being an entrepreneur or a business owner, but they get thrown into it. Or I've got HVAC companies. They have a trade, they have a skill, they start a business. I've got a flower shop, a mechanic, web designer. We are from all walks of life. We have things in common, and I want to start with that today. So this is my dad. I start with him, not just because I think he lived a fantastic life, but he is such a good example of an entrepreneur. He represents all of us. He represents the American dream to the fullest extent. He had an 8th grade education. He came across on the boat from Sweden. This is him at 19, leaving to get on the boat. He gets to Utah because at that time he had to be sponsored to come to the States. And so the person who sponsored him lived in Utah, so he had to come here. So gets off Ellis Island, makes his way to Utah, starts selling Fuller Brush, door to door. Did a few odd jobs, then decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to learn the trade of masonry. I'm going to lay brick. So he heads to Chicago with a bunch of other Scandinavians, and he becomes a bricklayer. Meets my mom, they have 3 kids. He says, you know what? Utah's such a great place to raise a family, we're going back. When I'm 6 years old, he hurts his back. He's now had a bricklaying business for almost 20 years. He says, I'm done. I'm going to sell, move on to something else. What does he decide to do? What would be the logical thing to do after laying brick for 20 years? Well, let's open up a furniture store. That makes sense, right? But that is an entrepreneur. We have so many ideas. We're excited. We want to succeed and do what we love to do because we know we can do it. We are a different kind of breed. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur. I'm sure you figured that out. There are some people, they need to go in and clock in, right? They need that paycheck. They don't want the stress of running the business. We bought a dental practice back in 2006 from a dentist who had been practicing for, 35 years. He continued to work for us, and he said, I love it, because I can go home. I don't need to worry about the management stuff. You guys take care of that now. There is some feeling of peace with that. So my dad, true entrepreneur, he's not just selling furniture, he's delivering furniture too, right? We wear all the hats, especially at the beginning. We're doing everything. We're doing payroll, we're helping the clients and customers. We're in the nitty-gritty. And it can get a little bit stressful with all the obligations that we have coming at us. So this is a store. If you're from Salt Lake, we had this store for about 40 years. I grew up there. I started cleaning the toilets for $2.50 an hour, which I remind my children all the time that I can lower their allowance if I want to. Give them that same experience as me. So this is the final photo sharing time, but it was a family business. So a lot of us work in family businesses. That's even more stressful. There's a lot more that goes into that than you bargained for when you start that family business. So I want you to know how important you are. You are vital to the U.S. economy. We need the American dream to be alive and with people just like you. I used to think, no way is this statistic correct. No way. There are much larger companies that have to be supporting our workforce. It's simply not true. It is the small business. Now, keep in mind, under the SBA, the definition of a small business is 500 employees or less, okay? But still, it is the small business. How do those small businesses with 500 employees begin? Do they start out with 500 employees? Someone's basement. Someone's garage, laundry room. Wherever we have a computer today, right? Or phone, access to the internet, we can do anything. We need you to be successful. So we're going to do a little reality check. And it's a video, so I'm not sure how to use it on... Is it starting? Does anybody know how to start it with a PowerPoint?
I can look at it.
Oh, it's gone. Okay. All right, so I want you to imagine we are the kind of business owner with a dream. We start out, we may not have all the money we need, but we somehow get it. We have the support from family and friends to get this business going. They may not agree, and they may be fighting us a little bit, giving us a little bit of grief about taking the chance, being risky and starting a business. But we have a dream, and we are bound and determined to make it happen. So now you're successful. 2, maybe 4 years down the road, you've now hired some employees. You're growing. Maybe you changed locations. Maybe you bought a building. Maybe you are delivering stuff, and so now you're adding equipment. But you're growing. And I find that a lot of business owners, because we are so busy, because we wear so many hats, we have things coming at us daily. Can you relate? Are you putting out fires sometimes as they happen, and you don't know where your day went because you were not in control of your day? You're just getting through the day, and you're going home at night, and you're crossing your fingers, and you're hoping so much that nothing blows up in your face tomorrow. Well, my question for you, and I run this in the background because I want you to envision business owners. Business owners are working for other companies, right? A lot of them start, they have a day job. They're opening, getting going at night, on the weekends. There's a lot more stress that we're under than we realize. Family stress, external family stress. When Tiffany was talking today, I realized, you know what, I have a brother that is totally in a crisis situation. That adds to our stress. But we have a business to run. So my question for you, how ready are you if something does happen? Are you prepared if someone decides that they're not happy with you? If a small misunderstanding that wasn't dealt with, if that turns in to a little bit bigger of an issue and it blows up and becomes an actual lawsuit, what will you do? So when I ask, are you prepared? Do you have money in the bank to settle it, make it go away? And I'm talking the average amount to settle is $150,000. Are you ready to spend the next 2 or 3 years not focusing on your business because you got to deal with the legal mess that just happened on your door? That's the serious question. Whoops, here we go. So we've done a reality check. Running a business can be risky, but because we are entrepreneurs, we're rolling the dice. We're at the craps table in Vegas and we're rolling the dice. And we're hoping we're going to win big. But did you go into business to sue somebody else? Was that your intention? Was it your intention to be sued? I doubt it. You don't start your business because you want to end up in a lawsuit that's going to cost you a ton of money. It only takes one person. And unfortunately, we cannot control other people. I wish so badly we could. I would love to control my children or my employees sometimes. Sometimes I'm just racking my brain, what are they thinking? They didn't get what I was trying to do. But we can't. We can't control clients. We can't control our business partners. We can't control employees. There's only one person who we are in complete 100% control of, and who is that?
Ourselves.
Who? Ourselves. You are in complete control of how prepared you're going to be with your business. Just like with being able to save money on taxes. The buck stops with you. You are in complete control. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. When I first started, I grew up in the family business. For some reason, I was the one that the employees gravitated to when they had an issue with my dad or my brother. I have no idea why. So I would go to them and try and work it out, and I loved it. So I graduated from the U, I moved to Boston, got a job working in HR. Needed to get experience not working for mom and dad, right? Did that for 2 years, loved HR. Decided, you know what, I am going to be a civil rights attorney. I am going to eradicate discrimination in the workplace, all on my own. Just me. I did it. No, I did not do it. That's 20 years ago. Not much has changed. But at that time, I truly believed that employees were the underdog. They were the ones that needed protection. They were the ones that needed representation. They were the ones that needed knowledge to protect themselves. So I did that. I came to Utah and I sued companies just like you for a number of years. I represented employees for wage and hour violations, sexual harassment, discrimination, age discrimination, disability discrimination, you name it. We throw everything at the wall when we're suing a business. We see what sticks with the facts that we've got and the courts that we land in. But because of my background, so I feel like my experience with my dad and working in a family business, that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing today. We all have a why we went into the business we did, why we're serial entrepreneurs and we created 5 million different businesses. We all have our why. And we moved to Utah and started, in fact, one quick little thing. I moved to Utah, opened up a practice down in Utah County, worked for a firm on Center Street for a number of years. I was the only one that did this type of law. I got really busy. My kids were little, and I said, I can't do it. It's too much. I want control of my time. But I would frequently have people ask me, Dana, how can you be so busy? It can't be that bad down there. It is. It's bad everywhere. There's stuff going on. But as we started buying a couple of businesses, I realized, you know what? The underdog is not the employee. The underdog is the small business owner. So today, I've changed my whole way of practicing law. And this is why I'm not a typical attorney, and I love it. I can tell you it's taken me 20 years to figure out how to be a lawyer and be happy, and make my family happy with me being a lawyer, right? So now, I know, and I can tell you from firsthand experience with my clients, if I can help the small business owner, I am protecting their employees. That is a fact. So think about that. It only takes one person to mess your life up as a business owner. And you never know who that person's going to be, and it's going to be that person that you really don't think it will be. Unfortunately, it's going to be the one that you go, oh no, they love me. They're never going to follow through on the threat of taking legal action against me. Well, it is. It's going to be that person. So, we're going to talk about what you can do to make that experience not successful for them. It will be successful for you because you'll be able to say, you know what? You want to sue me? Bring it on. I hope you never have to experience it, but if you're a business owner, you're going to experience a legal action at least once, if not more than once. But if you are prepared, just like being prepared with what we've already talked about today, you'll be able to say, bring it on. So I love Barb's approach with taxes. I work with a tax guy that I discovered. I found him 4 years ago. So for like 15 years, our CPA, exactly what Barb said. We would give him our stuff. He would never ask us questions. He would just take it, do our taxes, and give us the bad news every single year. I can tell you what she's doing. We're sick about it. We're sick about those 15 years where we lost a lot of money. I'm certain of it. It's been refreshing. It's a lot of work, but you can do it. So when you think about your business, here's a couple of statistics you need to remember. The SBA took a survey back in 2009 on all small businesses. But the beautiful part about the survey is they have a section in there that just applies to businesses with less than 50 employees. And that is what I focus on. I don't work with businesses that are 50 employees or more, because your obligations are in an area I don't want to deal with. I'm trying to be a mom. I want to control my time. I don't want to deal with businesses like that. I have good friends that I refer those businesses out to who have the manpower to do it. Less than 50 employees, so 0 to 49. This stat, 30% of all legal action that involves those business owners has to do with a misunderstanding, you guys. Breach of contract, all it is a misunderstanding that has blown up. And if you can see how to deal with it early, you can take control of that misunderstanding, and you're not going to be that 30%. 40% employee issues. Isn't that crazy? That's scary. The other 30 is your typical slip and fall. Oh, I fell in your business, I fell in your restaurant, I hurt myself. Torts. All I'm talking about are the 70%, and that is all we do. So, I don't want you to be tomorrow's headline. How are we going to do it? We're going to start off talking about what Barb talked about. We are going to protect our personal assets. So I work with my client CPAs all the time. We are partners. When I get a client, I ask them, who is your CPA? Because I need to contact them. We need to be on the same page. CPA's job is to help you lower your tax burden. My job is to help you protect your assets. And how do we do that? We set up a legal entity. It doesn't matter if it's an LLC or an S-Corp on my end. It does for your tax burden. And that's why they see the financial picture. I don't. I am only concerned with protecting, and I do this because to me, it's a wall around me. In this circle, in this wall, is my home, my kids, my personal bank accounts, my assets, my car, whatever I have. I want to protect that. I don't want, if something goes wrong, if that one person makes my life not fun, I don't want them to get into my personal assets. I've had people call and say, well, you know, someone told me that filing a DBA in Utah is a legal entity. I'm good, right? No, DBA is not a legal entity, just so you know. Not at all. Legal entity is an LLC and an S Corp. So I will focus on LLCs because in Utah it is the most common. And Barb, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you set up an LLC, this is what I tell my clients, you start out with an LLC, and then once you reach a certain revenue, you opt to be taxed as an S Corp. And the beautiful part about that is you don't change your LLC status. I like LLCs because they're easier to manage on you guys. Corporations, you have a lot more you have to do to prove that you are actually acting like that entity that you set up. And that's the key. If someone wants to sue you and you do have a legal entity, what the court is going to say is, are you a sham? Is that legal entity a sham? Or are you really acting like it? And they're going to want to break it down. They're going to look at your bank accounts. Are you commingling your personal funds with your company funds? That's one way to break through that wall. Are you having the meetings you're supposed to have? Are you documenting the things you're supposed to document? So there's a whole aspect to maintenance. And so one big thing that I see a lot of times is someone sets up a single member LLC. They go online, they get their CPA to set it up for them, whatever. So it gets registered right with the state. Everything that way is fine, but registration is not enough. You have to have, with an LLC, you have to have that operating agreement, whether you're a single or a multi-member. You have to have unanimous consent forms. That is your golden nugget to protect you, to cover your butts, because you're forced to document. So just keep that in mind. Documentation, we're gonna get into that, but registration is not enough. All right. Okay, documentation. When I bring up contracts, people zone out. Eyes gloss over, they hate it. Some people are intimidated by legal documents, some people just don't care. They think, oh, I'm good. We shook hands, right? The old way of doing business, shake your hand, we're good, we trust each other. Unfortunately, today we can't operate that way. You are risking your business if you're gonna operate that way. And I don't want you to risk your business, I want you to protect. We're in the business to protect. So how do we do that? There are certain contracts that a business needs. You don't need, not every business needs every contract out there, but there are certain. So I'm just gonna name the top 5 contracts that we do. I can't even tell you, I should go through my list and see how many times I've done these contracts. Just in the last 2 years since I started this business. Top 5, client services agreements, independent contractor agreements, employee agreements. You don't need those all the time, not with every employee. They're just certain, depends on the situation. Handbooks, an employee handbook, and an operating agreement. The operating agreement, when you have more than one owner, man, that's probably the biggest thing that will reduce misunderstanding from turning into a lawsuit, is having that operating agreement. And when you want to when you want to get out of the business, that's what you're going to go to. And it will, I just had some clients, we set it up. The buyout went so smoothly because they had an operating agreement. They had already agreed how things were going to go if they decide to break up later. So they're not trying to figure it out when emotions are high, right? They're doing it when they can think clearly. They're in Tiffany's space. It's a very good space to be in when you're trying to think of stuff to prevent bad things from happening.
Can you run through the 5 again?
Client service agreements, independent contractor agreements. employee agreements, a handbook. So if you have just a couple of employees, that employee handbook, it's a good place to start. If you have nothing else with your employees, that employee handbook is the best place to start. And we do have different versions depending on how many employees you have. So if it's just a couple, it's minimal handbook. If it's 15 or above, your obligations are now a lot heavier.
Employee versus 1099, I think those agreements change. Like, do you need a handbook still? Do you need, like, how does that work?
So 1099 is an independent contractor.
Yep.
So things change. So if you only work with independent contractors, you can still have a policy manual, and you can still obligate them that they are going to follow that policy manual.
Okay.
So, any other questions? You're free to ask. Okay. All right. Contracts. My biggest pet peeve is that business owners, I know you're busy. I know you don't. Cash flow can be like a roller coaster. I've been there. I remember my husband's a dentist, so I'm sorry, I'm using his practice as a good example, but he had, it was in the 2007, 2008 time when the economy was bad, right? And our computers crashed. We couldn't get them. We had lost 3 weeks of data. So money wasn't coming in from insurances. We were in a dire situation. Have you ever been there? Not sure if you're gonna have enough money in the bank to cover payroll? Yeah, I know how that is. It's a sick feeling. So I know you don't wanna spend a lot on legal. I get that. I get that most business owners do not pick up the phone to call an attorney because they don't want to spend the money to have a contract prepared. They know they need one, but they don't want to spend the money. I can tell you, I know that I'm not the only attorney in Utah that has set pricing that we are affordable for small businesses. There's lots. And I love it when I find an attorney I can add to my referral list who's also responsive, because that's another issue about attorneys. We're not responsive enough. It's a problem. It's the #1 complaint with the state bar. So, okay. Back to my pet peeve. Even though going online can be free, can be quick, because we work in the middle of the night sometimes, right? I know how that is. You need it now. You need that agreement now. I can get it online. I can download it from my competitor's website, like a waiver and release. I'll just go to a competitor in New York. They're big. They're a big company. Their waiver and release will work for me. Okay, it may be free today, it may be quick today, but I can guarantee you it's going to set you up to fail. And if you've never been in a lawsuit, brace yourself. If you have, I feel what you're feeling right now, because most of my clients come to me because they've already been through it. And they don't want to go through it again. They want to be ready and prepared. So, you can find an attorney in Utah who will do it quickly, who will not cost an arm and a leg, and will get it done right. Those contracts have to be, you cannot use a template. That's the misconception. And a template is not going to work for everybody. I don't know one time where I've been able to take, I have a template for sure that I start with, right? For a client services agreement, start with that, but I don't know one client where I could just say, here, let's just put your name in, you're good to go. Independent contractor agreement, you're good to go. We have to be specific to you as the business owner. Your management style comes into play, because we don't want to put terms in there that you're not going to follow. You are signing a legal document. You are saying, I'm going to follow this. And if you don't, that's where you're going to get hit with a breach of contract.
That's a question.
What's the difference between going online and finding something as opposed to having something tailored to your needs? Like, if it fits your style, what's the problem?
There's other things to consider. You've got the type of business that you're doing. Even though you may find a business that's similar to yours, I can guarantee you there's going to be terms in there that only an attorney, after talking with you and getting to know how you expect things to go with you and whoever is signing that contract, that we can tailor the terms to fit you.
That was the response.
So a template is going to be too broad.
Okay.
State laws change too.
Yes, so especially if you get your template from New York, like that's why I threw that example in there. We're not in New York, we're in Utah. We have to make sure we follow Utah. All right, so don't DIY. Can't stress that enough. It will come back to bite you. All right, timeliness, this is your secret weapon. And these are the things that I think you are in complete control of, and I think that you can leave here today and walk out and say, you know what, I'm going to be better at being timely, because it is going to minimize the success of a lawsuit that may come your way one day. What do I mean by timeliness? Okay, we've got employees who complain. We've got customers and clients. They're not always happy, and they can be annoying, especially to business owners who are busy. And we're busy. We've got business partners that sometimes we're not on the same page with. But I can tell you, if you address the issue immediately, you're going to diffuse the situation. So here's an example. Let's say you've got maybe 15 employees. One of your team leaders comes to you and says, hey, Dana, Sally wasn't too happy with what was said in our team meeting this morning. I hear that she's grumbling about something. I'm not sure what it is. I have two options. I can say, oh great, thank you, Angie or whoever, for bringing that to my attention. I appreciate it. Go sit back down on my desk. You know what? I've got all this stuff to do right now. I will get to that later. Well, when does later happen? Probably not tomorrow, probably not next week. Weeks can go by and you're like, oh crap, I didn't do it. And you probably won't go back to it. So then you've got two people that now see you as the business owner who doesn't care about them because you didn't. You've got Angie, who's your team leader, that she thinks, oh, you want to hear what's going on. You didn't address it with Sally. You've got Sally, who may have heard through the grapevine that it was brought to your attention, but you ignored it, right? So how is she feeling? How are those two people feeling? Nothing, I'll be honest with you, nothing may come out of this, right? It may just go away and work its way out on its own. It could. But in my experience, things like that, they start building. And that's when people become angry, and that's when employees end up quitting, and then you get hit with a wage and hour violation because that employee did not appreciate how you treated them. You may not be in violation of wage and hour, but they feel that you did something wrong, they're gonna go after you for whatever they can think of. And that opens up the door to the government in your life, and you don't want that. So, how would it go? Stop what you're doing. Just immediately stop, because this is more important than whatever it is you have on your agenda right now. If it prevents a lawsuit, it for sure is way more important than what you're doing, and it will take a few minutes. You bring in that individual and you say, hey, Sally, I heard, something's up. What's going on? Tell me what's going on. Now, you may not have a solution right now for her or him, but the fact that you're acknowledging that there's an issue, they hear that, they see that, and you're now showing your whole company that you are a good business owner, you want to do your best, and you're trying. Right? All we can do is try, and employees will respect that so much. And you now have diffused. Now those individuals are walking away going, hey, they acknowledged me today. They acknowledged that something was wrong. So you can't help, maybe you can't fix it today, so you say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna think about this, I'm gonna look into it, and I will get back to you. Be sure and get back to them. Don't let that go. So we see, unhappy customers, they put a review up, right? A little bit negative, makes you mad, deal with it immediately. There are certain ways to deal with it, you do it timely. Business partner, you bring them in and you say, hey, what's going on? We do it timely. All right, that's easy. I think it's in your wheelhouse. I think you can control how you're going to decide today to react to that. The second thing that I want you to leave today changing. Documentation will save your butt. If you find yourself in a misunderstanding, it can diffuse it. If you find yourself in a misunderstanding that's turned into a lawsuit, if you can pull out a bunch of emails to prove your side of the story, it's going to go a long way to turn that huge lawsuit into something small. How do we do that? We have a conversation with someone. So let's say, I'm going to pick on Pam. Pam and I work together, and we have a meeting, and we talk about some stuff that maybe she's not happy with. So I sent her an email today. We had the meeting this morning, but I send it today. Remember timeliness. I say, hey Pam, thanks so much for meeting with me today. This is what we talked about. This is what we decided to do. Let me know if you have any questions. Send it. That's all I'm asking. That email is going to do 3 things for you. It provides a timestamp. I know I have text up here. Ignore that. I do not like text. I've got to take that off because texting is going to open up a can of worms. So email is better. Timestamp. It identifies the parties and it puts in the substance of what happened in that conversation. It does one other thing. Have you ever had a conversation where you both walk away thinking 2 completely different things? Oh yeah, all the time. This is something you can do with your spouse. Follow up that conversation with an email. But it opens the door. Hey, you know what? Pam can say, Dana, that's not what I understood how we were going to proceed. And now you've got email going back and forth to clarify how things are going to go. That is documentation. Now, if you want to just be really stellar, take my advice today, you're going to save that email as a PDF, and how I do it is I just send it right over to a Google Drive folder that I've already set up for my rainy day. It's my rainy day. If I need it, it's in my rainy day. Because I want to make sure, I'm cautious, I want to make sure I'm not going to lose data. But those emails, and you can use this beyond business. It will, if you have a situation that comes up later with somebody, so if Pam and I, 2 years goes by and we're still not happy with each other, then maybe there is a true misunderstanding. And I can bring my emails and I can say, hey Pam, I'm just not understanding what happened here. What am I missing? Because in the emails I have, this is what I show, right? And maybe Pam will see that email and go, oh my gosh, I totally forgot we even talked about that. So just doing that can put a wall here before she takes it to an attorney. So don't hire an attorney too fast. It will change the dynamics of your relationship. Give it some chances. All right, any questions about this? How do you guys feel about it? Do we use email all the time as business owners? I know that the teenagers think it's stupid. They use other things, but they'll realize as they get into the work environment, email is what they need. All right, final thing. I could spend a whole day on HR. If you have any employees, your obligations are fierce. And I get employers who call me all the time and say, you know what, especially with wage and hour, I think that's the biggest place where we make mistakes, who say, you know what, Labor Commission sent me a letter, and I just told them, you know, I didn't know. Sorry, I didn't know that I was supposed to pay overtime if they worked more than 40 hours a week, or whatever. Well, ignorance isn't an excuse. You are going to get hit with fines and penalties. You have to know. And there's so much to know. Really, with all you've got going on, you need to find someone. There are HR professionals out there who can be your go-to. Payroll companies have HR options. Because I used to sue companies for HR violations, I love this stuff. I love helping small businesses figure it out. I love being there for them, that they can call me and say, hey, Dana, I've got a situation with an employee. I have to meet with them today and talk about it. Can I walk it through with you and get your opinion on how I should approach it? I love that because we can diffuse a lot before it turns into a legal mess. So HR, hiring, onboarding, evaluating, terminations, whether it's them leaving or you terminating them. There is a lot to know. So just reach out to someone and figure it out. All right.
Quick question, you mentioned overtime. Is that overtime per day or overtime per week?
No, in Utah, it's per week.
Thank you.
Yep, it's not per day. Okay. So what are you going to do to avoid being tomorrow's headline? What are some things you're going to do? We just talked about it.
But separate accounts.
Review contracts.
You say or work is something to do your contract specific to what you're.
Yes, so I love, Dana, right? I love what she just said, review contracts. I get this a lot. People think, oh, I've done my will, I'm good. And then 40 years goes by and that person dies, their children are now like 60 years old, not the underage. Things change over time. I want you to remember when you put an operating agreement in place or a handbook or any contract, those are fluid. You need to be reviewing them at least yearly because your business changes. You start going on your business and you go in different directions, things change. We need to make sure any legal agreement you have in place appropriately reflects how that business is being run and what your expectations are today, because they're going to be different. They might be different. Maybe they won't. It's just a good thing. Stick it in your calendar every year. Let's review what we've got in place. All right, you got this. I don't want you to leave putting your head in the sand. You really do have this. You are in control of how you run your business. Our goal is for you to be able to say, bring it on. And I know that you can. So as a business owner, when we start our businesses, we're so excited, we want to push through and be successful. So we're hoping for the best, right? Sometimes it is luck that we are successful. Sometimes when doors open, we keep walking through them, and that's good. So we hope for the best, but today I need you to start preparing for the worst case scenario so that you can say, bring it on. I'm ready. Because when the tax guy comes to audit you, if you've got someone like Barbara, you can say, bring it on. I don't care. I've done everything I need to do. Bring it on. So, there you go.
And high tech too, eh?
Yes, we are. I have a daughter that's turning 16 on Monday, and sitting in this room this morning with Barbara and my good friend Tiffany, I had one of those moments last night. She started her first job yesterday, first day of work ever at a real job, and she was the biggest crybaby last night. And I just wanted to say, come on, grow up, girl, but you can't. They've got to go through it, right? But I need to bring peace back into my life when I'm dealing with I have a 15-year-old as well, so it's fun. So I'm Dana Ball, and the first thing I tell my people who call me is right off the bat, I say, you know what, just so you know, I am not a typical attorney. And what that means for you is that I'm not going to be a good fit for everyone. And it's okay. I'm okay with that because of how I run my business. And so I'm hoping, I've had some feedback before that I kind of scare people. I scare business owners because I really want you to face reality. I feel like sometimes our heads are in the sand because we're so excited about being a business owner, and I really want you to face reality. So I still want you to face reality today, but I don't want you to leave here with your head in the sand. You've gotten so much information, and I love how this has gone from Tiffany to Barb to me because it's setting you up for some really valuable information to take home with you and be better business owners. And you can do it. So I'm your cheerleader, we're all your cheerleader. And I hope that when you leave today, you're not saying, oh my gosh, she gave us too much legal stuff. I don't even know where to begin. It's too stressful. I just have to put it aside and deal with it later. I hope you don't do that. I hope you walk away and you start thinking, what am I going to change with how I work my finances? What am I going to change to give me more legal protection? So before I dump all my legal stuff on you, I am a business owner too. I have 5 businesses. I'm ready to launch one hopefully next week or the week after that I've been working on for 2 years, right? It can take 2 years, a lot of heartache, a lot of time to get something going. But I love it. It's an adrenaline rush. So I am right there with you. But I read a lot. And I have an extra copy of this book. Tim Ferriss came into my life a few months ago, and now I've inhaled all of his books, so I have this extra one. I'd love to give it to one of you today. So I'm going to pass my little jar around, put your business card in there, make sure it has your cell phone, because I'm going to text you after. If you don't have your business card, just write it on a piece of paper, your name, your cell phone, and your email. And During lunch, one of you will get it. It's an awesome book. I haven't actually gone through this one. You can see how hefty it is, right? I've done part of it, but it's great. All right. Entrepreneurs. If you just look around the room, you can see we are all from different walks of life. My clients range from medical professionals. They didn't go to med school or dental school to learn how to run a business, but they get thrown into it. They didn't plan on being an entrepreneur or a business owner, but they get thrown into it. Or I've got HVAC companies. They have a trade. They have a skill. They start a business. I've got a flower shop, a mechanic, web designer. We are from all walks of life. We have things in common, and I want to start with that today. So this is my dad. I start with him, not just because, I think he lived a fantastic life, but he is such a good example of an entrepreneur. He represents all of us. He represents the American dream to the fullest extent. He had an 8th grade education. He came across on the boat from Sweden. This is him at 19, leaving to get on the boat. He gets to Utah because at that time,